This is the IC 109 podcast. I'm your host, Larry Wiggs, and this is a journal entry, a diary entry, if you will, inspired by none other than Mecca, the ladybug of Diggable Planets. So I was scrolling through Instagram. It is and just scrolling through Instagram is a powerful it's a powerful point. The idea that I'm making this podcast because I was scrolling through Instagram, that is so powerful and poignant because part of my story about 109 goes back to 2019 when on the day, I believe it was no, it was April 1st, 2019 when I woke up. I immediately grabbed my cell phone because the alarm probably went off. That's how I woke up, and then I was checking Instagram. That was like the first thing that I did. Instinctively, I went to Instagram. And so that's how I found the news about Nipsey Hussle, that he had been shot March 31st, the day before, 2019. And my story about 109 is all about, the events surrounding that date and what happened to me in the desert, around that time. Anyhow, I told that story in order to tell the story about tonight, how I was searching Instagram. I mean, I guess I can go on record, or I can say definitively, like, I've been scrolling through Instagram feeds at least since 2019. So that's like 5 years right there. And I don't, I think I started, I want to tell you when I started an Instagram page, and I'd have to go back, and maybe it was 2014. I'd have to go back to my very first post, which, yeah, I can tell you, I'll just keep scrolling back. But basically, I'm telling you, like, I've been, Instagram has been, a constant in my life for 6 or 7 years now. And tonight is no exception. Tonight's the night, or tonight I was checking Instagram. Okay. Let's move this conversation along. So, Ladybug Mecca posted a picture from one of the Diggable Planet's recent shows. I must say, I've also been a fan of Diggable Planet since 1993 when they released their debut album. I had that CD, and what can I say? In 2005, I met Ladybug, or Mecca the Ladybug. Dope part about it, she signed my t-shirt, my Diggable Planets Cool Like That t-shirt, which I still have to this day. All right. And all three of the members of the Diggable Planet signed them. Ladybug, Doodlebug, and Butterfly. So, yeah, it's a cherished souvenir, cherished memory, memento, and all that. All right, so Ladybug posted a picture from one of the recent shows, and then it was the comment, y'all. It was the comment under the pictures that really got me, because the comment is one that her comment is a quote. Is this quote that I remember it having such a deep impact on me when I first heard the quote. All right, so the quote goes, I'm not looking directly at the quote right now, so if I butcher it, then shame on me. I'm coming up on my very first post. I'm scrolling through Instagram as I'm speaking, and I'm about to reach my first post. Oh no, what the heck did I just do? Oh my gosh, I scrolled. Oh geez. I was almost to the beginning of my Instagram posts. Or at least it's moving faster now because I had recently downloaded or recently scrolled through. Okay. A second ago, that my past Instagram posts hadn't uploaded. I couldn't see them. They were slowly finding. But because I had uploaded them or something, how do you describe these things? I don't know. because I was looking at the older ones. Then there was like there was a memory. There was an image that was readily available. So when I checked back, that image was right there. So I didn't have to scroll, and I didn't have to wait for the image to populate. It was ready. There was an access file like waiting for me. Okay. 2015 is when I started posting to Instagram. 2015. All right. 2015, right? So there was this I'm going to pull up the post. I'm all over the place with these comments, with this podcast. Let's see. Okay, so I found the quote. All right. First off, I don't know who the author, the speaker of the so I had to look it up. All right, so it says a Sufi teacher, philosopher, and poet named Rumi, Rumi, said this. Okay, you ready for what Rumi said? Rumi said, the wound is the place where the light enters you. Let me read that again. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Let me read that one more time because I stumbled over it again. Okay, let me take a breath in. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi. I think it's Rumi. Okay, now that I've read the quote at least 3 times, that's the quote that Ladybug Mecca put under her picture. Now, why did I geek out after reading that quote? Why did I decide to make this podcast after reading that comment, that caption under the Instagram post from Ladybug Mecca? Well, I'm so happy she posted that. I'm so happy I came across that, because the first time I heard this quote was when I was at the movie theater. It was the old Magic Johnson movie theater, right off of Crenshaw at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. I was with my mom, and I was back in Los Angeles after having worked in Korea. I think I might have been on a vacation, but I was in Los Angeles. I was with my mom, and I was like, "Mom, let's go to the movies." And my mom and I went to the movies, and I watched that movie. Oprah Winfrey was in it, right? She was like a fairy godmother or something, a witch, a good witch. Let's see. The name of the A Wrinkle in Time. Okay, there it is. That's the story. So when Oprah was in A Wrinkle in Time, that was a big production for around whatever year that was. Let me check. I don't even remember when that movie came out. Let's see. What year was that? 2015, it looks like. Yeah, it was 2015, the same year that I started using Instagram. 2015, Oprah was in A Wrinkle in Time. A Wrinkle in Time. What? Oprah poses as Glinda the Good Witch in. I think that's right. Wait a minute. Let's see. A Wrinkle in Time. Oh, I'm tripping. No, A Wrinkle in Time is a film from 2018. All right. 2018. Oh, 2018. That's when. So I was back in LA. There was a lot of things that happened in 2018, right? So I was back in LA because I was working in Saudi Arabia at that time. Had I returned? I returned from Saudi Arabia in 2018. But I was also back in Los Angeles very briefly in 2018. I was in transition. I went to Cuba in 2017 twice. Okay, so that's not 2018. 2018. Let me see. Dang. In 2018, February 16th, 2018, Nipsey's Victory Lap album was released. Before the album was released, I was back in Los Angeles where my mom and I stopped at the Marathon clothing store, and we went there for the first time. And I was with my mom, and we were running errands, and it was early in the morning, and the Marathon clothing store opened at 9 in the morning. So my mom and I stopped there, pulled into that notorious Lawson, Crenshaw lot. We went inside. My mom was looking around, and she was like, "What is the marathon? What does the marathon mean?" And the guy behind the counter explained to mom, what it meant a little bit, and I chimed in. Also, when I walked into the Marathon clothing store, then as soon as my mom and I walked in, Black Sam was walking out, Nipsey's brother. So that was a cool thing. I recognized him, and I gave him a little "what's up" nod or whatever. But he was on his way out the store. The way I remember it, he said something to us. It reminded me of something powerful, a good welcome message. Yeah, come on in, get your shop on, King. Welcome to the store, brother. It was like a powerful statement that he made, All right, so anyway, these details are not significant, but then again, they are significant. They very much are significant, right? So, all right, going back to the movie, it was 2018. We were watching the movie, and during the movie, the line, that quote was uttered. The wound is the place where the light enters. The wound is the place where the light enters. All right, so let me explain to you why this quote was so impactful and why it resonated with me so deeply when I heard it uttered in the movie. It's because in 2018, I was personally suffering from alopecia. I think that's what it was. It was alopecia. And I've over the course of my life, I've had 3 documented experiences with alopecia. And one of the reasons why my hair is so long today is because I haven't dealt with that. I haven't dealt with alopecia recently. And I was like, in 2018, I said, I'm going to let my hair continue to grow. And 2018 was just some kind of year for me. I decided to let my hair grow. And I did not. I haven't cut my hair since 2018. Come to think of it, I haven't cut 2018. That was the year I stopped cutting my hair. All right. Now in 2018, you see, I guess the my most recent bout with alopecia, I guess I was overcoming it. I was overcoming the bout of alopecia because I remember my mom, it must have been in 2017 when my mom told me that a patch of my hair was missing. I remember I had returned from my travels to South America. And that's when my mom, told me, "Hey, you're missing a patch of hair there." And I was caught off guard. I was like, "Huh, what?" Because it was sort of in the back of my head, near my right ear, behind my right ear. And I was like, "Huh, what?" So that was in 2017. So by 2018, it took a whole year for me to heal from it. It took a long time for me to get back to normal. And it forced me to reassess my life, to reassess what have I been doing? What had I done, for this hair to fall out? How had I, malnourished? my body? How had I, disrupted my equilibrium, my homeostasis? What had I done? And I guess things had changed for me. Well, I certainly went to the hospital, and I had the injections of cortisone into my scalp to help promote the hair growth. And yeah. So anyway, I was healing, but I still had a very recent memory, and I probably still had a light patches of hair, in my head. And I was just like, wow, um, you know, this is real. As I said, this happened to me on 3 different occasions. I had a patch of hair in 3 different parts of my head. They fell out. They were about, was it 7 years apart? No, that would be 7, 14. That'd be 21. No, that was 5 years apart. 5, 10, 15 years. No, I forgot. I have to check those the years, but some time had passed between these 3 noticeable incidents. Anyhow, I think it was 2009, it was 2012, and then it was 2018. 2012 and 18, so that was like 6 years between there. Or it might have been 2011, because I remember it being like 7 years. 7 years was a number that you know that I remember. All right. So what I'm saying here about this alopecia, about this patch of hair having fallen out of my head, is that was my wound. And although I had felt as if I was suffering somehow, physically, my body was changing, and I felt like, man, something's wrong with me, or something had been wrong with me. It was when I was healing that I watched this movie, but it was that comment: the wound is the place where the light enters you. So I thought that was a beautiful interpretation of a wound. And for me, my wound was, on my scalp, and I was like, wow, that's where, I don't know, my third eye, my wisdom, my intuition, I don't know, something. It was something very, very spiritual, very, very deep, that I took that interpretation. I took that quote and I ran with it. I was like, oh, that's what's happened to me. And so I changed my interpretation of my patch, my missing patch of hair, my bald patch. I changed the interpretation from being it's a display of malnourishment, of a problem that I've had, and it turned into something spiritual. Like, yo, that's where the Spirit of God, that's where, wisdom, that's where love entered. Because basically, when I lost that patch of hair, you go and it throws you for a loop. It's like, but I thought I was doing everything right. I thought I was good, and now I'm not. This is proof that I didn't do everything right, that I'm not good, that I am not favored. This is just like, it's really jarring. It's like, oh man. And so, yeah. So, but that quote turned it around for me. It was like, no, that's where the light enters you. Like, ooh, the light of wisdom, the light of God, the light of, angels, the light. Yeah. So that was something that just changed it for me. So that's a very important quote. And just like in the movie, the character has a scar, a wound on her body. I think it's her arm. And the quote is, the wound is the place where the light enters you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can dig it. This might make some sense to someone who's watched the movie. This might make some sense to someone who has gone through something, and felt some kind of way, had their confidence, their confidence shuttered because of a change, something. But then again, like I said, 2018 was a year for some major things for me, to occur, from rebounding from the alopecia, to being back in Los Angeles with my mom and dad, family, and going to the Marathon clothing store for the first time. Yeah, I went to the Marathon clothing store twice. I believe it was twice during that trip. Once I made it a point to go there to buy a t-shirt. I got the Jean-Michel Basquiat Nipsey Hussle Marathon clothing t-shirt. I remember the guy who worked there was like, "Oh yeah, that's a good one right there. That's a really good t-shirt." And I was saying, I thought in the back of my mind, like, yeah, I know, man. Basquiat is my favorite artist, and Nipsey putting Basquiat on a t-shirt. Oh, that's epic, man. That's really, really something special. So I had to get that. They gave me 2 victory lap posters. I bought an ink pen with the Marathon clothing logo on it. And then before I left Saudi Arabia, I was like, I must own one of Nipsey Hussle's sweatshirts with Crenshaw on it. So before leaving Los Angeles, I went back to the Marathon clothing store and I picked up a green Crenshaw sweatshirt. So I was ready to go back to Saudi Arabia, the desert. Even though you don't need a sweatshirt like that in Saudi Arabia, I still took that and went back there. All right, so those are my stories, and this podcast episode is inspired by Ladybug Mecca's Instagram post. The one about, the picture with the quote from Rumi that says, "The wound is the place where the light enters." It's deep. So it's real deep. This is IC 109, and I'm out.